Good morning. My name is Peter Hurst, and I'm the President and CEO of the Greater New England Minority Supplier Development Council. Thank you for taking the time today to participate in this webinar, which is focused on how to do business with CVS Health. Today, the team from CVS, we have Nicole Van Balen, who's a Senior Manager for Supplier Diversity. We have Manette Napik, who's the Executive Director of Supplier Diversity, and I'm happy to add she's also a board member of the Greater New England Minority Supplier Development Council. Nicole and Manette will provide an overview of CVS Health's procurement and supplier diversity program. Now, before we get started, I want to thank CVS Health for being a 2023 gold level sponsor in G&E MSDC, which is critical in helping the council provide programming for our MBEs. We could not do our work without the support of organizations like CVS Health. So thank you, Manette and Nicole, again for your support. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping items. First, we will be recording the session, and the recording will be uploaded to our G&E MSDC YouTube page. Secondly, the presentation will be shared following the conclusion of this event. We have a large number of attendees, and there will be ample time for questions. Once we get to the Q&A phase of the program today, please use the raise hand function so you can unmute and ask your questions directly to Nicole and Manette. And now I'd like to turn it over to Nicole and Manette.
Peter, thank you, and thank you to Joanne Wong as well for providing us this opportunity to speak to you all about doing business with us. You know, I'm all about let's not PowerPoint people to death, but I do think it's important for us to share a few slides with you all because we want to make sure you understand the value that we place upon this program within our enterprise. And as Peter has said, I'm here with my wonderful colleague, Nicole. And so we're going to kind of tag team as we go through today's presentation. This is the wonderful team that I have. I consider myself very fortunate and blessed, just candidly. There are not many supplier diversity programs that have 5 dedicated resources to our efforts. You know, each of the colleagues here, you know, along with Nicole, Gianna, Edwin, and Mariah, all collaborate together within the spirit of including diverse suppliers. However, they also are responsible for key programs as part of our overarching program related to Tier 2 or some learning experiences and many more. So, you know, our purpose, again, is to strive to engage with business communities and provide opportunities for diverse suppliers. Because we know that doing business with you all, you're creating jobs, you're paying salaries, and you're refueling the economy. And we want representation of our supply chain to resemble our customers, our colleagues, and the communities we serve. So we'll hear a little bit more about that from Nicole.
Yes, so I'm really excited to share with you the impact that our supplier diversity program has across our whole entire enterprise throughout various areas. And the communities we operate in are really positively affected by the jobs that are created through these relationships. And we really strive to show those same communities that we see them not just as customers, but as business partners that can help us bring forth innovative products and services and bring that to the market. So the economic impact of our supplier diversity program is a key component of why supplier diversity is so important to CVS Health, because the dollars that we spend with diverse suppliers has a greater impact than what is really on the surface. Wanted to briefly share this slide with you. In 2020, we spent $3.4 billion with small and diverse businesses. That generated $6.3 billion production impact and supported over 46,000 jobs and $2.3 billion in wages. So I know this is a 2020 statistic. We're coming out with our new statistics coming up because we refresh this every 2 years. And then also wanted to share with you that in 2023, CVS Health is advancing our care delivery to significant benefit long-term patients' healthcare by reducing costs and improving outcomes, particularly with underserved communities. So we're really enhancing our value-based offering, and it's core to our strategy when we're continuing to redefine how people access and experience care that's more affordable, convenient, connected, and making a meaningful difference in the lives of the patients that we serve. So CVS Health is more than a store. This is what we're demonstrating here on this particular slide. It shows our size, our scale, our breadth of offerings through digital and community retail, with our specialty pharmacy prescriptions, healthcare, mental health care services, and we're continuing to grow and expand in the healthcare space. So that's why it's so important and vital for us to partner with diverse suppliers. I want to go on and share a little bit more about our economic impact. So in doing businesses with small and diverse suppliers, we're generating revenues for those businesses. And it's allowing us, those businesses, to have means to hire additional resources, create jobs in the community, and then incomes for them, their employees. And guess what? That goes right back into the community. And then we are all collectively creating an economic growth and development overall. So we at CVS Health, we have a business case for diverse suppliers. It's not just about, that bottom line, but it's helping us to create a competitive advantage. And especially with our PBM and Aetna side of the business as well, we're having diverse suppliers that can be our differentiator in us being awarded business, because everyone is seeing that equal importance of doing business with diverse suppliers. And then also we are working with you guys because you're small in size, you're flexible, don't have that red tape and policies that we may need to go through, and you can really spend detailed attention to our customers at hand. So we love having that flexibility and working and partnering with diverse suppliers. And then we have more to choose from when we are able to bring up diverse suppliers for possible RFPs to share their capabilities and see if there's a match in delivering products and services to our customers. And, when we have that competitive advantage, we're actually leveling the playing field and opening up more opportunities to provide better collaboration and possibly cost savings for us as well. And then here, I'm going to turn it over to Monette, so she's going to talk about where we sit in the organization, our supplier diversity team.
Thanks, Nicole. It sometimes can get confusing, certainly for our internal stakeholders. For example, when they hear the word diversity, they automatically assume that we sit within the diversity, equity, inclusion, or social justice and equity, or ESG, the environment, social governance group. But we're sitting in enterprise procurement because we're sitting directly with the sourcing professionals who are working with our business stakeholders. We're finding the suppliers for them to include in those competitive RFXs. And it is a goal for every colleague in our sourcing department, whether they're a vendor manager, category manager, sourcing manager, whatever role that they're playing within our ecosystem. Supplier diversity is a commitment that everybody makes. But you'll see I have a dotted line because clearly we're part of one of the 4 pillars of diversity, equity, inclusion. It's called marketplace diversity. So certainly we contribute to DE&I, SJ&E, and ESG. A lot of acronyms there. But let's talk about merchandising, because you'll see a dotted line there as well. Merchandising is not underneath procurement, but we work very closely with them in bringing any products for consideration. We also host a supplier diversity and merchandising event, which is kind of like a pitch, Shark Tank type of competition on an annual basis. And merchandising also partners with a broker by the name of ECRM, who also hosts on an annual basis opportunities for diverse product vendors to to be considered for opportunities on our shelves. So let's talk about the actual sourcing process. How do we really work? We use the Ariba platform. Many of you may be familiar with it. It is how our sourcing professionals issue RFXs. And they open up a workspace in Ariba. That workspace, upon immediately them opening it and starting to put content in it, we, the supplier diversity team, is alerted. Nicole, Edwin, Gianna are all aligned to different categories. And if the alert comes over and it's one of their particular category, that supplier diversity professional is immediately reaching out to that sourcing person to either garner additional information that may not be contained in that workshop, and is immediately starting to work on finding and sourcing suppliers. How and where do we find them? One is our registration portal, which I highly recommend if you haven't done so already to register. I've heard I've been doing this for 10 years. It's a black hole, you don't look at it. No, it's the first place we go to. And coincidentally, the third-party platform that we use is used by a lot of other corporations and other retailers and other healthcare companies and insurances. So you may register with us, but Raul, who's at Merck, will see you in the database because he uses it as well. So it's really a tool that's used by lots of corporations. So we'll look there first. Then we'll start to reach out to the local and national advocacy groups. Local, when it's something that is very specific in a particular territory. So let's say it's in New England and we're putting a new roof on a distribution center in Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Well, we would like to find somebody from that community. Again, as Nicole said, right, we really want to impact the communities we're in. So we'll go to the Greater New England database, for example. So we're going to all of these databases. And of course, we attend all of these national and local advocacy groups' annual conferences. So we'll have a presence there, whether it's a booth, a table, or otherwise. And many members from my team will be there to engage with you, to meet with you, potentially if there's matchmakers. And so we can find you if it's the right opportunity at the right time. So we, in turn, bring that back to the sourcing professionals. And again, because it's part of their goals and part of their commitment, you're included in that competitive RFP. If you have any questions or we have a supplier, it's pretty easy to remember, supplier diversity at cvshealth.com. It is monitored and we do respond within 24 hours. Many times if there's not, we have visibility to the 2023 pipeline, for example. If there's not an opportunity at that given point in time, don't think that you're just falling into a folder on our Outlook. We are sharing it with our sourcing professionals and business stakeholders for future consideration. So really think about that capability statement and what you're attaching or what you're linking us to, and that you are registered with us. The other thing with the sourcing folks is we do have a very intentional once a month meeting with them where we're actually going through either recent RFPs and kind of talking through them a little bit. What are the challenges? What are the issues? What are the barriers that we need to get through? And our responsibility is to come back to the diverse suppliers to try to help them on their journey in responding to those RFPs. This is just really, it's not a rule, but this is a high level of the process roadmap that sourcing takes, right? So it's scoping and developing, it's essentially developing that workspace that I was telling you about, right? So they're garnering the information from their business partners. If we're lucky, sometimes they include, and I say lucky because sometimes things move so quickly, but given the opportunity, if there's a kickoff meeting with the business stakeholder, the sourcing folks are bringing us to it. So we're hearing it firsthand from the business along with our sourcing professionals. Then with the market outreach and proposals submission process, that's where they're doing their outreach, right? But we're doing it along with them because we want that inclusion of diverse suppliers. Then there's the submission and the responses, the review, the evaluation, additional due diligence, and then it goes into the final negotiations. All things being equal, So that means, it's down to 2. The diverse supplier will be awarded. That is our intent. So again, the measurements, it depends on what product or service offering you have. It could be based on price. Candidly, that's always important. But what innovation did you bring to the table? What differentiators did you bring to the table? Other things like client references, SLAs, all those things are taken into consideration. And let's not forget, what does your diverse supply chain look like? Are you using diverse suppliers to do business with us? Is important to us. What does your talent pool look like? Do you have diversity of talent at the table? And there's obviously emphasis around environment, social governance. So again, depending on what your service is, what are you doing in a sustainable way? All of those things are things that are measured. And again, all things being equal, the desire would be for us to award to a diverse supplier. So this is our pipeline. This is what we have visibility to for 2023. Again, it's broken down by these categories. And like I said earlier, this is how our supply diversity professionals are aligned with our sourcing folks. So you may look at this and say, wait a minute, I do waste hauling services. Send us an email. You could reach out to me or Nicole or to that supply diversity mailbox. Edwin Alvarez from our team monitors that. So let's be candid though. This is what we have visibility to today. There's a lot of moving parts, right? Our business evolves. We just recently acquired Oak Health. Am I saying that right, Nicole? Oak Health Street. And so sometimes our procurement professionals have to shift and focus on activities related to that acquisition, for example, or, as a result of that acquisition, there may be different categories of things we've never sourced before, right? So again, keep in mind, more than likely, we have an incumbent providing a product or a service to us today, right? So it's the right time, which we have 3-year contracts. So when is the opportunity going to present itself again? And again, it's constantly evolving. So this is what we can share with you today. And we're happy to, if when we open up the Q&A, if you think you fall into one of these categories, we're definitely here to assist in answering those questions. I think it's important for us to show you the advocacy groups. These are just a small representation, but these are the national ones, and you'll see GNMSDC is there. We really value the partnership with Greater New England being in our backyard in Rhode Island, where much of our corporate representation is. But we also have a very big presence in Scottsdale and Chicago as far as like large corporate entities. But as you know, we're across the country. And as Nicole shared with you as well is, get past your neighborhood store, right? There's a lot of opportunities within that as well. But we have like 17 distribution centers. We do health, we do health and wellness workshop. I mean, there's just so many potential opportunities. And don't be discouraged if you're a small or medium-sized company. Sometimes it's the right time, the right opportunity that we're looking for that small company. I'll give you an example. With Aetna and Caremark, maybe the Aetna client is looking for us to host a health fair or some kind of health and wellness, mental wellness workshop. That one person company, small business or diverse company could be just what we need at the right time. So I encourage you, regardless of size or scale, to register with us and know that we really are very intentional in our inclusive activities. So this is the part where, and I can't see people, Peter, and I don't know if they're raising their hand, but this is the part that I think is, again, we didn't want to PowerPoint you to death. We really wanted to have it more open and, have folks ask us pretty much nothing's off limits.
So Manette, Nicole, thank you for sharing this information. For all of those in the audience, if you have questions, please use the raise hand function. and we will make sure that your questions are presented to our friends from CVS Health. So as we wrap up, I'd like to thank Manette and Nicole for taking the time today to share this incredible information. And more importantly, I'd like to thank CVS. Anyone who hears me talk a lot about the corporations in our network, I'll put a group of folks in what I call the check the box. You know, they'll pay a few bucks to organizations like the Greater New England Council, the National Minority Supply Development Council. But if you drill down, they're not spending a lot with diverse businesses. And then CVS is in my true believer category. If you look at where supplier diversity is housed in CVS, it really does signal how important they think it is, because they report to the folks who control finance. So they're not just going through the motions. They really use supplier diversity and inclusion to tip the scale in their favor when they're thinking about employees, thinking about potential customers, actual customers. So I really appreciate CVS Health for everything you do. Appreciate Manette for all you do for our organization and for diverse businesses in general. And Nicole, you've joined an incredible team, and look forward to working with you all.
Thank you very much.
So thank you, everyone, again. We're going to share the presentation at the conclusion of this, which has all of the contact information. And this session was recorded, and it will be available via YouTube.